an investigator investigates, he goes, who's to benefit? Like, there is no benefit for Muslims. There's no benefit for Islam. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
This person who did that got brainwashed for years, for decades maybe. So,
and it's interesting that, the tiny Christian community and tiny Muslim community in Sri Lanka that really didn't have any problems in the past, all of a sudden, why are they fighting? There was no tensions between them. They were having good relationship. It seems like someone wants now, these agendas to have Christians and Muslims fighting. And this is what I like about your film, that
this is the Deen Show. This is the Deen Show.
This is the Deen Show. This is the Deen Show. This is the Deen Show.
Assalamu alaikum. How you guys doing? I'm with the director of the hit documentary Freedom, and to his right and the left, the two white Muslims. How you guys doing? Assalamu alaikum.
We're doing great, thank you. All the better for seeing you.
It's really nice. Last time we were all together in Manchester.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
With you, brother, tell us what happened. You just came back from New Zealand, is that right?
Yes, we just arrived a few days ago. We went there for 10 days, 6 universities. We started the tour in Christchurch. More than 200 people turned out. Non-Muslim media talking about us, and it was just amazing. Like, it was the first time we screened the film in such a big non-Muslim crowd, and they asked many questions. They were just amazed to discover all this beautiful thing about Islam. And then we went to Dunedin, and also the response was fantastic. And one brother accepted Islam after the Dunedin screening, and everybody was happy. The people were happy to know that Islam is a wonderful religion, and they are looking. Some of them took the Quran, and they are going to read it during Ramadan. And so it's really a good vibe.
Some people, for the people that don't know, who are tuning in, and maybe they weren't up to speed about what had happened in Christchurch, can you kind of give us a history of what had facilitated you actually being there? This attack that happened on a house of worship in Christchurch, New Zealand?
Yeah, well, actually, 1 year ago, one of the brothers who lives in New Zealand watched our documentary during Ramadan, and we've been talking about this university tour way before the attack. But when the attack happened in March, mid-March, we called each other, and he said, I think now is really the time for you to come over and to make a screening, to let the people know what Islam is truly about. So, as you know, the attack happened on the 15th of March, and I just found out when I went there that actually the murderer spent 2 years in Dunedin, where we did the second screening. Ultimately, he wanted to do the attack in Dunedin, then he changed his mind, and he moved to Christchurch because there were bigger targets. But that's why the people in the south are very shocked, still very shocked, and they just want to understand what's going on. They want to understand what is Islam, and they are really open. And we went to the masjid also where the attack happened. We talked to the families of the victims. Subhanallah, we got picked up at the airport. We didn't know, by basically a family that lost his son. And when they sent us to the hotel, they just told us, we are part of the families that lost one member, and the brother who was driving was injured. And I was so these people, they suffered something, and just 40 days after, they can pick up people like us for the screening. What a great spirit. And it just happened, we screened on the 27th of April, which is coincide with Freedom Day. In South Africa, and the Prince William of UK and the Prime Minister were at the masjid while we were there as well. So there was a lot of people, and they came to talk to the family, and we had a fantastic khutbah by the sheikh of the masjid, who explained to us that actually there's no such a thing as really a problem among religions. It's more about the devil. The devil forces are actually beyond all these attacks. And instead of blaming the Jews, the Christians, the Muslims, you really have to start to blame the real responsible behind these attacks, and it's a devil worshipper. And it was the first time I hear that from a scholar, and he named it, and I really liked it because people need to wake up, you know.
The thing is that this crazy murderer, who I will call a terrorist, committed an act of terror by going into a mosque with an automatic weapon and indiscriminately shooting at the people at Jummah time. So this was a crowded mosque. He murdered many people, including sisters, children, and brothers praying. SubhanAllah, this is an act of terror. This is what happened in Christchurch. It happened in 2 masjids on the same day in Christchurch in New Zealand. And this has been globally, there's been a global outcry against this. This should never happen. The people of Christchurch, the people in New Zealand, have been overwhelmingly supportive of the Muslim community and overwhelmingly supportive of the media labelling this monster as a terrorist, which is what he is. And I'm quite pleased that the rhetoric appears to have changed a little bit in that respect.
So the vibe now that you are getting, you had a lot of people that were very interested now, this sad and tragic event that happened there in Christchurch, New Zealand. We send our condolences and our prayers for the families who are affected by this. And you got to meet a lot of the family members there, and how was your interaction with them?
We talked, I met a brother who lost his father, for example, and they were so strong. I mean, I would have lost my father in those circumstances, I don't know, but they were really, down to earth, and the life goes on, and in a great spirit. So I think it was so strong, and we know that our deen, grew through martyrs. At the end of the day, if you look at history, it's just happened, and they know the families are successful because they died on a Friday in the masjid. And so from a spiritual perspective, I think they are very strong. Of course, morally, physically, it's difficult for everybody, but I think the community is even stronger. Yeah. Now it's very strong, and I think life will never be the same, but I think it's going to be for the better. And the non-Muslim have a huge opportunity to look at Islam in a different angle and benefit, from Islam and understand the wisdom behind this religion and the truth behind this religion.
We got to see pictures. We got to see many women standing in solidarity. They were wearing the hijab. We heard a lot of rumors. How true are they? That there was a lot of people that now who are showing solidarity, but then they started to look into Islam. And like you brothers there, all three of you actually, you did the same thing. You guys looked into Islam. You looked at the evidence that it provided, and you guys concluded, not based on emotion, but on intelligence, on proof and evidence that Islam was indeed the way of life from the Creator. And then is that true that many people in Christchurch, New Zealand, many started to accept Islam? Is that true?
Yeah, it's happening. I think a lot of people are looking at Islam, and some of them already accepted Islam. I met a few of them actually. Like one of the brothers who came in Christchurch, he gave us a small interview. He embraced Islam only four weeks ago, and he was very happy to watch the film because it's very inspiring for him to see 50 converts from 25 countries, and he doesn't feel alone anymore. So mashallah, it's a great beginning, and definitely the awareness is there, and now we need to do more. A lot of people are coming to New Zealand, but I think we need to do conferences. And as we talk about human rights a lot, I do remind the people, your first human rights is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala properly, the way He wants us to worship. We always talk about human rights, but as a human being, your first human right is to worship Allah, and then you have to understand what are God's rights. And I think they understood that it makes sense what we're talking about. And we met some atheists. We met also even people from Mexico, from Lithuania, some students in the North Island, and they were just amazed to hear about Islam. It's just like when we were driving to come to the studio, it's so obvious that Islam is the truth, but how come it takes so much time for people to get it? You know, maybe it's unfair because we've been guided by Allah already a few years ago, and for you guys,
How-
2 decades. But
How would you brothers put that in perspective for someone who just for the first time they've been so disconnected from their fitra, from their natural way, that now they're being reminded, and when people for the first time may hear such words as worship, you know, Allah, you know, these things, you know, they have a hard time processing this. How do you put this down in a perspective that people can connect when you, because you guys come also from your past, that this was also foreign to you, so you're hearing this, you know, it's God Almighty's right to be worshipped. How do you guys put this in a perspective now that maybe somebody who's been far disconnected from that, they can connect with hearing this for the first time?
You know, whatever which way we look at what happened in Christchurch, it was an absolute tragedy for the people concerned and their families and their neighbours and their friends. It was a tragedy, and that should never have happened. However, it did. And around us, the communities reacted in a way that was actually quite surprising and pleasantly surprising. You're right, sisters came out, women who were non-Muslim decided to wear the hijab in almost in sympathy and coming out in support of the women community. Alhamdulillah. What we saw was newscasters at that time.
Every female newscaster was wearing the hijab. Non-Muslim were wearing the hijab in support and just in solidarity and just saying, you know, not in our name. This is abhorrent. It shouldn't have happened, and we're in no way going to condone it.
That's amazing, isn't it? Because for the common mantra that's pushed out there that Islam oppresses women, now these women who are not Muslim, why would they be putting a symbol of oppression on them if they felt that same thing? Doesn't make sense.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think the message is now starting to come through that far from oppression, it's actually liberating. Is the hijab.
Liberating, yes.
And women wearing hijab are clearly wearing it as ambassadors for this beautiful faith. Alhamdulillah.
True.
And that's actually coming across.
True liberation. Do you guys think if this terrorist would have had a chance before he did this terrorist act of killing, I believe it was 50 innocent human beings, if he would have saw this film, Freedom? How many? What'd you say?
He wants one brother passed away recently out of injury.
So it's 51 innocent human beings, including men, women, and children, innocent human beings. If this terrorist would have, before he did this crime, this terrorist act, if he would have, what do you think if he would have had a chance to watch this film, Freedom? You think that this would have had an impact on him?
I think definitely. I mean, it works on your fitra. It's definitely an eye opener. You know. Now, of course, we cannot undermine the brainwashing. You know, like it takes this person who did that got brainwashed for years, for decades maybe. So to say that a 90-minute film could stop that, it's a bit too, let's say, how do you say, positive, or no, it's a bit optimistic, right? But I think it definitely can plant the seed. It can prevent people to do such thing. And actually, one of the member in our film is from Christchurch. One of the sisters in the film is from Christchurch, and one day after the attack, it just happened. We had a gathering with some of our donors, and she said that she believed that if freedom would have been spread out more, this type of hatred will diminish. You know, we can't pretend to stop hatred. Hatred will always be there, but hatred comes out of ignorance.
What we all have to do, Eddie, and you've been doing this for many, many years and very, very skillfully, is present Islam in a way that people understand and in a way that makes sense to them in their lives at this time. You know, we say presenting Islam in a positive light. We don't need to do that. All we need to do is present the truth of Islam. Present what Islam actually is and present who Muslims are. I know some beautiful people that are Muslims, alhamdulillah. And I know that Islam is the truth. This is from our Creator. This is from Allah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So we have a duty to present that to people. And this film Freedom has done exactly that. And I think everybody in the world should watch this movie.
Yes.
They really should.
What the movie does, it celebrates difference. It celebrates diversity. It demonstrates that Islam is an all-encompassing religion where some people, I think, people tend to fear what they don't understand and they tend to put it at arm's length. And when actually you're starting to recognise people that look like you, that act like you, that are like you, are saying these words, actually all of a sudden it's much more accessible. So one of the beautiful things about the film is just this ability to contextualise Islam in the 21st century, but also demonstrate it is for the whole of humanity. It's not just for certain parts of the world. And Alhamdulillah, maybe if people had seen this, certain things hadn't happened.
So the good news is people can watch it for the first time online on the 11th of April at the New Muslim World Digital Conference. It's free registration, www.nmwconference.com, and they can watch it from the comfort of the home. Especially, we did this live thinking about you and your people in the US because we haven't done screening there, so it's going to start live, I think 8 a.m. in the morning, LA time, and then the screening of the film will be around morning time for the Americans. So we encourage everybody who's following you to tune in. It's for free, and then on top of this, there will be 12 hours of content from some of the best convert speakers in the world.
Tell us, we're going to go ahead and come back to that very important film and very important conference that's coming up. That's this month on the 11th, correct? And that's at what? And the website again is, what's the website that they can go and register?
www.nmwconference.com.
Now we're going to remind them. We're going to remind them again. But now something else I wanted to ask you guys. Another sad and tragic event just happened also, and what are your guys' thoughts on that? I was just bewildered. I could not imagine. Again, it seems like it doesn't make sense because, I mean, obviously, again, you guys, open-minded individuals who investigated Islam, and you see what it promoted: peace, love, happiness. I mean, peace, love, justice. You know, now you have this tragic event also that happened in Sri Lanka. It doesn't make sense. Like, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Obviously, from the Islamic perspective, there's no sanction for it in Islam. So then they usually ask, like, look, when an investigator investigates, he goes, who's to benefit? Like, there is no benefit for Muslims. There's no benefit for Islam. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
Well, funny enough, just that, there is no benefit. There is no benefit. So if we take it, well, first of all, it is an absolute tragedy. And whilst people will say that it's done in certain ways and for certain reasons, just because they say that's the case doesn't make it the case. It's a tragedy, it's abhorrent, it shouldn't have happened. As Yusuf says earlier, it has. The fact is, it doesn't affect the religion in any way, shape or form. What human beings do fundamentally does not affect Islam.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Islam, unfortunately, is being judged by the action of certain individuals. And what really should happen is that those individuals should be judged by the tenets of Islam. You know, the media have tipped things on their head, and they're looking at things the wrong way up. You know what happens? And these people that do these abhorrent acts, you know, I'm going to put my neck on the block here and say that, in my opinion, that person, at the very point at which that person detonated a device that went and killed and maimed innocent people, at that moment he had abandoned his faith. He had abandoned his faith at that time. So, you know, in no way is any of these actions in any way associated with the tenets of this beautiful religion.
Yeah, it's. What were you going to say, Dorian?
My point also is, I think I don't want to. The investigation, you know, when people claim they did it, where is the proof? You know, like my grandmother could claim something as well, and we would just take whatever she says. You know, like, this doesn't make sense. People have to be a bit smarter. And when any groups claim some attacks, where is the proof? I mean, and then so because they say, oh, we did it, so that's validated. No, this is not how we investigate things. Now, I haven't followed the whole story of Sri Lanka. Apparently there were some people of other faiths dressing in hijab, we also were part of it. So it's a bit confusing, to be honest, but the things that this thing about always this group claim that they did it, and in reality there's no proof of that. So then it's just so easy because people don't have the time to investigate, and you just get it, and then the problem is what we are doing ourselves. We validate this false narrative by saying, well, Muslims are not like this. We don't have to do it in the first place because there is no proof. There's no proof that it's not because a group said, "Oh, we are the one behind that." Everybody could claim it based on their agenda. But we have to be a bit smarter than this and stop to always, take it for ourselves and say, "Oh, it's someone actually bad in our community," because in reality, maybe it's not. This is what I think.
Julian, is one interesting thing. Robert Pape, he was a terrorist expert, an academic here in Chicago. Actually, he talked about this where suicide bombing originated from the Tamil Tigers back there when the Hindus were fighting with the Buddhists. And it's interesting that, the tiny Christian community and tiny Muslim community in Sri Lanka that really didn't have any problems in the past, all of a sudden, why are they fighting? There was no tensions between them. They were having good relationship. It seems like someone wants now, these agendas to have Christians and Muslims fighting. And this is what I like about your film, that it helps to bring, humanity together. And these are the positive things that we need to push. But this is very interesting. One point is that Islam is free of this. There's no benefit for Muslims or Islam in this. And then the second thing is keep your brain on. Don't let others think for you, and don't just swallow what you're fed whole.
And also, we have to understand those events sometimes happen as a deception because the ones who are portraying are doing this thing. They want the masses to have an eye on these events, where actually bigger things really are happening somewhere else. And this is always happening right now, For example, when this thing happened in Notre Dame, this fire in Notre Dame, the whole world was focusing on that while there was also a fire happening in Al-Aqsa. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So we have to keep an eye on the globe and not being just focused on what the mainstream media is showing us, because by now the people don't believe anymore in mainstream media. I mean, the people who are awake. And so the mainstream media just has credibility in the people who are still following blindly, but they are losing, and they know that they are losing grasp because they have been lying for decades now about many events, and people don't believe anymore in mainstream media. That's why we have to be very careful now, because those are not. It's not anymore journalism we're talking about. I have a background in journalism myself. And this is just agents of propaganda,
Propaganda, agents of propaganda. This is. Go ahead, Yusuf. What were you saying?
Yeah, what we have to be mindful of all the way through this is heinous things do happen. These crimes do take place. But how anybody can relate what happens back to Islam is beyond me. When I look at the Quran, virtually all but one of the chapters of the Quran begins with the words, "In the name of Allah, the compassionate and merciful." And that's it. We have a compassionate and merciful God, Allah. Now, how could a compassionate and merciful God allow this to be part of the religion that He has passed to us to follow? That just doesn't make any sense at all. So in no way is any of these heinous crimes committed in the name of the religion, certainly not the religion that I follow and practice.
That's a powerful point. You guys wouldn't be part of something that was calling for oppression of people, that was calling for destruction of humanity, like many of the hate provocateurs try to push out there, and many ignorant people, they bite on that. People who are just naive and people who don't research and really don't put their mind to work, because people have stopped reading, people have stopped investigating. The thing is that it's ironic that you see now, you got Muslim women, you got Muslims being persecuted there where this happened because people are taking revenge on them. So again, no interest in Islam, no interest in Muslim, and actually this is bringing so much more harm to the Muslims in that community now. It's just sad for the Christians, sad for the Muslims, and we need films like this, like Freedom, people the correct information that's out there that's going to help perpetuate some goodness.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we've been complaining after the attacks, that, for example, I think in Australia, One Path Network said that 3,000 articles in 1 year was against Islam, but we should not expect necessarily this to stop, But the question is, what are we doing? How much money we are investing in our own media, like the Dean Show, like Alice Media, Freedom, This is what the Muslim has to start to reflect. Yes, they are tired about Islamophobic comments, Islamophobic narratives, but this is what is going on there for decades, and it's not really stopping, it's actually increasing. So we should have a counter-narrative to allow people to understand Islam better, and for not even the ones who are searching, but everybody out there to have a basic understanding what is Islam about, so they are capable to make the difference.
Yeah. What do you guys view? What do you guys think of the sad? This has just been on my mind. Also, I just cannot believe what's going on today. You have a modern day Holocaust that's happening, a modern day Inquisition happening in China. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Do you guys know much about it? You have almost 3 million Muslims. And the world sleeps. They're in concentration camps. Women are being forced to marry. They talk about forced marriages. They attack Islam. But everything that these hate provocateurs, they're out there lying about Islam right under the world's eyes while the world sleeps. This is happening and nobody's saying nothing.
Okay, Eddie, the biggest problem that the Muslims have got is the problem of disunity. Okay, we have got 1/5 of the population of this planet are Muslim. 20% of people, humanity, are Muslim. Yet they don't talk to each other. They don't respect each other. They don't unify. And as such, all of these horrible atrocities are allowed to continue to happen. If we had a voice, if we had a unified voice, if we all spoke the same and delivered the same messages, these things would have to stop because billions of people around the world who are Muslim have got the power to stop these things happening. Just in terms of voting power, if nothing else. We've got economic power. We've got all sorts of powers at our disposal, but unfortunately we can't use them because we simply don't connect with one another. And part of our job as thinking Muslims is to think of a way of getting people to connect with each other and unify on a lot of these issues.
Mm-hmm. That's why, again, a film like this, Freedom, is so important. Projects like this that promote education, understanding,
Yes.
and to counter this false narrative that's perpetuated that creates Muslims as the other. Islam is something that's the boogeyman coming to get you. So freedom, free your mind
Actually,
from all
talking
of
about that in the film, we have some Chinese, and they explain that there was a lot of Chinese Muslims in history. Islam spread throughout a large portion of China, and the Chinese, they believe in worshiping their ancestors, or they believe in respecting their ancestors big time. So what's happening now? The Chinese don't realize by attacking the Muslim Chinese, they are actually betraying their own ancestors. So this is grave. This is massively grave because a large portion of China used to be Muslim. It's still a part of it, but actually most of the Chinese, maybe their grandfather, great-great-grandfather, were actually Muslims. So it's actually, even on a spiritual level, based on their faith, which is to respect highly their ancestor.
Wow.
How can you respect your ancestor if you're butchering the people who are following the faith of your ancestors? So, and why it's happening? Because people lost grasp of history. They don't know anymore where they come from, who are the families, But I know I have Scottish blood, for example, So when I went to New Zealand, I told because most of Kiwis are Scottish blood like me. So I said, I'm not that different from you guys. My great grandmother is from Scotland, is from Glasgow. So because I know a bit of my history, I could connect. And the Chinese of Beijing, Shanghai, if they really knew who were their ancestors, they will be outraged, and they will maybe have a different approach to this. And the reality is they don't even know what's going on.
Yeah. Where are the feminists, the women, to stand up for women's rights, for these women that are being oppressed in China? Where are the George Clooney's? You know, they like to step up, and now when the celebrities, the people of the world, to come up and to tweet, send a Facebook post, share something, you know, to educate people on what's going on, so more people can speak up, so the world can be outraged. So God willing, this Holocaust, modern day 2019 Inquisition that's happening against innocent human beings can stop.
But you know, we can't expect the non-Muslim to do the job for us.
Yeah.
First of all, the Muslim Ummah is not outraged. The Muslim Ummah will just tweeting, to be outraged is to do much more, is to do film, is to do demonstration in front of embassies, put pressure on those issues, and so because they don't like bad PR.
Yeah.
You know, something the West doesn't care anymore. You see the difference between the Chinese and the West. The West doesn't care anymore of bad PR. It's long time gone. But the Chinese is still something they really appreciate. You know. So the thing is, demonstration will be a powerful thing. But again, are the Muslims willing to go out of the way, sacrifice their time to make the right move? And there's no leader in the Ummah right now to tell the people what to do. And this is what we are. Brother Yusuf is right. We are lacking unity, but we are lacking leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody's calling the shot in the Ummah, you know. And this is why we have a lot of problem of leadership. And until some strong leaders, we need some Malcolm X to come back in our deen. No, really, we need hundreds of them to speak the truth to the tyrants of this world, because this is part of our deen. People are listening to us today, they are probably reading the Quran, and they will realize that the story of Musa always comes back again and again. What does it tell us? Musa was the prophet that stand up against tyranny.
Yeah.
And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us. That's why this story always comes back, is to inspire us to not accept injustice. It's very simple. Islam is against every form of injustice towards Muslim and non-Muslim as well.
Yes.
Therefore, when there is injustice in the non-Muslim world, we also must stand up. You know, and this is a thing we are not good at. We have to, you know, why people will stand up for us when we are not standing up for injustices that are happening all over the world. So that's why we are vicegerent on earth. We are preoccupied with everything that is unjust for the human world and the animal world, the environment world. There's a lot of injustice happening to the animals. Where are the Muslims in that narrative?
Yeah, I often think the chickens can't even get peace. I mean, the animals out there can't even get peace with all the cruelty that's happening. Tell us, you guys just being on this platform together, you know, these beautiful, lovely faces are dispelling great myths of injustice, of Islam is just something for the Arab. I mean, you guys coming from Christian, Catholic, secular backgrounds, I mean, you name it, you guys have experimented with it, but now you're ones who have submitted to the will of the Creator, and that's what simply a Muslim is, what it means to be a Muslim, and you guys are there on stage together. I'm talking to all of you, so that's just powerful in and of itself. Amazing seeing all of you guys together. And one thing, I just came from the heart of Europe in Bosnia, and learning more of the history there, and there was a beautiful point of history that I'm enjoying sharing. I thought I would share with you guys and the viewers, that one of the largest nation, because you guys also come from a Christian background, the Bosnians there, they were in between, you know, a conflict where they had the Trinitarians and people who they didn't agree. They agreed more with what the fitra, with worshiping the Creator alone, not the creation, Jesus being a messenger sent by God. And they were the largest group of Unitarian Christians. They were called the Bogomils, those dear to God. Over 60,000 when Islam came to them. They accepted this pure monotheism that you guys are upon, worshiping the creator, not the creation. It was amazing. Throughout time, you see this suppression and people rewriting history. But I mentioned this point because there are other people who are stuck out there, not believing a theology that doesn't make sense, not based on evidence and proof. But when they hear this, that there are Christians like yourselves who accepted Islam because you only wanted to worship the one God. And then I bring this point of Europe, the heart of Europe, Bosnia, and this is where my roots come from. And learning this history, man, it's freedom.
Yeah.
And that's what your film is named, Freedom.
Exactly. Yeah, but the truth liberates you, and knowing your history liberates you. And this is what we need to come back to, like all our heritage, not only in Bosnia, in Spain, for example. Together we traveled in Spain.
And when we were there, yeah.
There's so much. The world needs to understand civilization. True civilization started through Islam, and they must appreciate what Islam gave to them, taking them out of darkness. And right now in this century, Islam can still do the same and take the people out of misery and darkness, so they can truly live as human beings, respecting their own purpose in life.
Yes.
Allah says in the Quran, we have made you into nations and tribes so that you can come to know one another. Not fight one another. It's to know one another. It's to be friends. It's to be working together in commonality. It's unity.
It's unity.
It's unity. Unity in community is what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
We believe that Islam should be the path of choice for everybody. We believe that. But the fact is, even for those who don't believe that Islam is the path of choice for them, world peace should be.
I like that, yeah.
Getting on should be.
I like that, yeah.
Fundamentally, when we talk about unity, it's not just the Ummah, it's the whole of humanity, the whole of civilization coming together. And it's films like Freedom, and it's the conference that we've got coming up that helps to do that, that just trying to engage with people. If people fear what they don't understand, give them knowledge.
I like that.
Help them understand.
Powerful. I like what he said. The point he said is that obviously we are sharing this because we want the best for everybody. When we were in Spain, when people from the Spaniards, when they go to their roots, it's Islam. When you people of the Philippines, that we learned that 100% of the Philippines almost were Muslims. Now it's about 11%. Is that right, Julian?
Yeah.
Then when you come to the African American people, the Kunta Kintes, when the Malcolm X, the Muhammad Ali, when they go back to their roots, it's Islam. So we want people, Christians. I just gave this example of the Unitarians there in Bosnia and throughout time. When people want to go to their roots, the roots of the first man, Adam, was Islam, submission to the will of the Creator, not the creation. Now, if they choose not to go back to the natural way, we still, as God Almighty tells us in the Quran, chapter 60, verse 8, God does not forbid you from dealing justly and in kindness with those who have not fought you because of your religion or driven you out of your home. So I like what you said. We do this out of the love. We want people to come back to their roots, to their natural way of worshiping the Creator, not the creation. But if they choose to do otherwise, hey, we can still be, as our brother Yusuf quoted, we get to know each other, but at the same time, now working for a common good to make good on earth, not wreaking havoc in the land.
Yeah, that's the prophetic way.
Yeah.
It is to live alongside people, even when you have differences.
That's it. Yeah.
To accept those differences and love the people in any case.
We got to get people on to watch this. I want everyone to watch this film, Freedom. So we have the director here, and we got the two. Tell people real quickly, why did they call you the two white Muslims?
Well, there's a few very good reasons why they call us the two white Muslims. Reason number one,
there are two of us.
Reason number two,
we're both white.
And most importantly, reason number three,
Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. We're both
Muslim.
Alhamdulillah.
And unbelievably proud of that, by the way.
Proud to be.
To be Muslim.
We got people asking about you guys, and we'll have Julian's programs also. We have subtitles now. We have the Dean Show Balkan. So we got people asking about the two white Muslims because they've watched your show with the subtitles in the Bosnian, Croatian, Serbian, the Balkan subtitles. So now people have heard your story all the way over there, translated. Yeah.
MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Oh, so freedom now. So we got now this film that everybody should watch if they truly want to be free and liberated from the shackles of the mind. Tell us again, how can people, when is the event coming up, and where can people sign up?
So they can register at New Muslim World Conference, digital conference, www.nmworldconference.com. It's free, and we're going to screen the film. We're also going to show an exclusive documentary of the behind the scenes, what happened in New Zealand. So it's the first time we're going to show it to people, never been seen. We're still working on the edits as I'm talking to you. It's going to be a 20-minute documentary film about our tour in New Zealand, interviews with the non-Muslim who watched the film. So all this is going to be during the conference. We have a fantastic lineup of speakers. You name it, all the big names are there. So we're very excited to present that to the people. It's 12 hours live from 8 a.m. US time, Los Angeles, till 8 p.m. And then it will be broadcasted again back to back another 12 hours. So people have the whole weekend to catch up with us. The two white Muslims will be our hosts. And the goal is really, the theme is, are we prepared to unite? Because really, I just sent an email to a couple of friends, a couple of thousand of friends. And I told them my story. I was a single songwriter. My first song I wrote was No More Divisions. I was tired of the fight among religions. When I became Muslim, I was under the impression that the brotherhood will be strong enough to avoid division. And then I realized all these splits. And it's been 7 years of frustration for me where people are boycotting this type of scholar because he said something 10 years ago or 5 years ago. And people are basically bashing each other. And as one of my favorite scholars says in Canada, I have a bigger fish to fry. I don't have the time to disagree with you on the 5% me and you will never agree upon, but you and I will agree on 95. Let's start to work on the 95, and Allah will tell us on the Day of Judgment if you're right or wrong on the 5%, right? So we really want the people to understand we don't have the time anymore to be divided. We have to try our best to understand each other and work together.
You know, Junaid and I live in a small city in the UK. In our city, there are 6 masjids. And the leaders of those, the imams of those masjids, and indeed their congregations, don't talk to each other. We've got 6 masjids and they don't talk to each other. So whatever that's the case, atrocities around the world will continue to happen because we can't even speak to each other on a local level. We need to fix this, and we need to fix this as soon as possible, inshallah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So okay, we got the information now. People can log in. That's May 11th. Freedom.
Yeah, and we want to tell the people, if French and British can work together after 100 years of war, non-stop war. Now we are Muslim. Seriously, can you imagine French and British working together? During my whole childhood, my dad told me British are the worst people, and now imagine I was brainwashed that way, and now I'm surrounded by. I'm basically working for these guys.
British in stereo.
Oh, that's right. So you're French and they're British.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So if French and British can work together, what about the Indians and the Pakistani? What about the Indians and the Bangladeshi?
Yeah.
What about the Malaysians and the Indonesians? I mean, come on, guys. We don't have the time anymore.
Christians and Muslims, everybody.
Yes.
All of mankind.
And enough of this nationalism. I don't care, yes, France is the best soccer team in the world. We know that. But come on. I mean, I don't care so much, So we don't have to be jealous about nations. I don't care if you are British,
So Eddie, this Saturday, the 11th of May, we've got a 12-hour conference with world-class speakers and the first viewing of the film Freedom. Everybody in the world should watch this film. It's going to be broadcast during this conference. The conference starts at your time at 8 in the morning and goes until 8 p.m. That evening, and then it will be repeated again for another 12 hours.
And you can register for free
register for free by going to nmwconference.com. So that's New Muslim World, nmwconference.com.
Guys, it's online. It's online. Some people are asking us, where can we park our car? Where can we park our car? So guys, it's online.
Are you providing lunch?
Free parking.
It's online. It's online.
Online, free parking.
Go to the website, nmwconference.com, you register to view, and you will be allowed access from your laptop, from your tablet, from your phone, whatever device you choose to watch this on. You can watch this conference from the comfort of your own home. Alhamdulillah, we look forward to you joining us on the 11th of May, inshallah. And Eddie, thank you so much for allowing us to come onto your show once again. We very much appreciate it. Alhamdulillah, you're a great man and an inspiration to all of us. Thank you so much.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you guys. And we'll see you guys on Freedom. May God Almighty Allah reward you for all your wonderful work and for this beautiful film and the event.
Inshallah.
And I hope to see you all soon, inshallah.
Thanks again, Eddie.
Thanks again.
Have a great day now. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
Wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah.